Yeah, I think uh, required attendance is there, so we can start. And I guess the main point of discussions would still remain around our tasks, which we need to focus for the release. So I will open up the doc.
So what exactly needs to be done? I was kind of confused on this. I mean, do we have an image? I think that's the main thing that we need pushed somewhere, which is automated. And once that's done, I don't see what's keeping us from releasing.
I'm still just troubleshooting the tags a little bit, but I think the latest pull request should fix the issues I was having. If someone can approve it.
Yeah, see, our earlier understanding at the end of last week was that there are some set of issues that we did create against the milestone. So if all those issues are closed, we should have a version ready to be released. But apart from that, I think one or two things which are missing over there are um, we might need to have a package kind of a thing. So we have binaries. So and one image. So we have one binary and one image, and probably a set of scripts which are referred to as part of the documentation that Ivan updated. So one option is you just upload the binary. Not upload the binary. Create a release page on the GitHub repo, and there the binary is published. Location of the image is published, and that's it. Uh, rest everything, people basically have to clone the Git repo if they need to run through the documentation. That doesn't seem to be a very nice option. So one more task that might remain is create sort of a package which includes those basic scripts apart from the binary and the image. Does that sound logical or
I think we can do that later. I'm really tired of being stuck on this, so I don't really want to add any more work.
okay?
As it stands today, if we get an image published, we
Hmm.
build, we tag a release and we build KubeFed from that release and add it to the release. Um,
Okay.
and then we link in the release to the docs. So people can go through and do things manually. And we can also link to, here's the scripts in the repo and people can, um, check out the repo and use the scripts if they want. But I mean, to my mind, like getting something awesome in the hands of users is not the goal. The goal is getting something out there as a starting point to iterate on.
Yeah, in that
So if
case,
we
I
can get
don't
that
think
done,
we,
then
yeah, in that case, the two pending tasks which I think would be that publishing the image and tagging the latest. So if you tag the latest, the release page is automatically created. And it'll automatically put in a link to the source. So users can download that source directly from the release page rather than cloning the Git repo. That also seems to be fine for me.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you that like usability wise, it's not great, but at this point, it's mainly about I don't think anybody really has a problem getting source. Like the quality of the stuff we're giving is not like, hey, I'm an end user and I don't know anything
Mhm.
about Git. It's more that building binaries and making sure you have a good image is something that is more complicated. And if we do that work for people, then it's just a matter of, oh, then I have the artifacts. I just need to, configure Kubernetes and I can do it myself, or I can have a script that, does some automation, but at least they have the artifacts to work with instead of having to start from scratch. And we can, we can build from there.
Okay, I don't see anything else pending in that case. If the image can be built and tagged, then that's it for me. Yeah, and I did complete that versioning stuff also, so we can as well have the versioning PR merged.
Great. So I guess,
Okay.
Lindsay, what, like you just need to have that PR merged? Is there any oversight that needs to happen otherwise on that?
Well, we were just testing out the regex for the tags that were being fed to Travis, I guess, for the build. So it's possible, like I might just need to make a few minor adjustments, but there's no way to really test it without having it merged on master. We do have the Canary build working though.
Yeah, I think we need to get the tag builds up. That seems pretty annoying that
Yeah, like
you
I'm
can't
pretty.
test things without merging. That's like classic CI fail to me, but
Yeah,
I don't know what we
Yeah.
can do about that.
yeah. Unfortunately,
So
Okay, well, I
at
mean, whatever it takes to iterate and get it done. Go ahead,
yeah,
Irfan.
like I've tested with I've just like hard coded a test tag into the image build locally and tested it, so it should work, but we'll see.
yeah, I think in the CI script, a couple of things like creating the image for which the Docker file is there and then tagging it and that kind of stuff are done as part of another script. What I did is I did update the make file. So the make file can build the image using that same Docker file. It can tag. The tagging strategy that I have used is that whatever is your if there is no initial, the first tag is not there on the repo, which is the current state, it will just take the latest hash and that is what it will put as the tag of the image. So for example, the image uh, which is built is quay.io Kubernetes Federation /Federation v2 : there'll be a hash. If a tag is put on the image, then it will tag with that latest, for example, v001 hyphen alpha something, and that will be pushed to this location. You can just have a look at that make file. So it does all that, and it will also additionally tag the image with the latest, whichever is the latest. It will check if whichever is the latest, and it can tag it using that. So how I tested it is just updated. So there is a flag or there is a variable which basically which basically is the location of the registry. Our official location is quay.io Kubernetes Federation. I did use some of my personal registry updating that variable and tested it out. So see if simple make make push can be used if that seems logical. Testing it out is easy. That's what I meant.
What's the relationship between what you've done and what Lindsay's doing? I'm not really clear on whether these things are complementary or conflicting.
I think they are complementary. So historically, none of us actually updated a make file. Okay, and when it came to like we need to version our binaries and all, so I did. So my suggestion or my scheme is that the version is picked up. It is actually kept at one location. That is the tag which is available at the Git master, and that's the one that should be used for all the binaries or images that have been built in this repo. So to do that and pass that information inside the binary, we basically needed a make file. So that's what I have updated. Uh, while I was doing this, I did add different options in Makefile about the image build because I had that code somewhere else. So I just updated that. It can be used or can be used later. We can update to one location, whichever is fine. You got the answer, Maru, or still confusing?
Sorry,
Hello.
Irfan. The thing that's confusing me is that Lindsay's already tagging an image. I don't know why. It sounds like she's doing something different than you're doing. I'm wondering if we're going to converge or we're divergent.
Yeah, we're using the tags provided by Travis in the build.
We can have a chat after this, Lindsay, to check what you are doing. What I did was just an option in the make file where you can do this build and push of the image also. And I'm using the Docker file, which is already updated. There is a Docker file to create the controller image already in the repo. Okay. Additionally, I did just update a push option in the make file, which can do this pushing the image using the tag, which is currently on the repo. So that's what all I'm saying. I'm not saying that use this or whatever. I just said this refer. You can have a look what that is doing. It seems clear to me. That's what I was saying. Hello.
Okay, that sounds fine. I mean, if you guys can talk about this after. I mean, I think that there's kind of a bit of a conflict between like automating this in CI versus doing it locally and then pushing it locally. It seems like Paul's been fixated on being able to do it automatically in CI. So I'm not saying we may not, we still want the make file, but I'm not sure that would be the primary way of publishing an image.
Yeah, that seems logical to me.
Okay.
So this option basically can be an option if a user wants to, like there is a manual option right now in the document. So this option could be like when user wants to publish to his own repo. That seems quite logical to me. Yeah,
Yeah, that seems
yeah,
useful.
yeah.
The CI could also invoke the make file to do a lot of
Exactly,
the steps. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So currently that's all done as part of a script. What I was trying to say is that in place of doing all that in script, it could just invoke the makefile. But I also was not imposing that that has to be done now. I just did put that part of that as part of my PR. We can move to that later. Let's focus on what's already being done.
Sounds good.
Okay, so then moving ahead from the release, what next? What next would be the question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm kind of wanting to just get the release out the door. I mean, if anybody wants to start working on whatever they want to start working on, but I mean, part of this is just getting things in the hand of users to start getting feedback. Like that's kind of the main reason to get this release out the door. Are there things that we think people need regardless? Like we have a bunch of issues. Like maybe an exercise. The next exercise is revisiting all the issues, making sure that they're either closed because they were part of alpha, or reconsidering whether a given issue. Like maybe we should just create an alpha 2 milestone and start tagging issues to that milestone, and we can review that sort of. I don't know. We don't have to do it online, but like the hope would be that once we've released alpha, maybe we could even have a short meeting again to sort of set expectations. But I think in Intel alpha, we want to just be brainstorming what we need to do and what is a priority for each of us.
We can do that. Do you want to do that in today's meeting or in the next one?
I would maybe suggest the next one. I mean, it gives people an opportunity to go through all the outstanding issues and fill in the gaps for anything that's missing in terms of what our respective priorities are.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I think my suggestion would be is like everybody who has an interest in any given feature, make sure it's tagged as an issue. And then if you want to see it, maybe something worth discussing today is like timelines for next release. We talked about releasing early and often.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to start prioritizing, like if we're going to do, say, a weekly release for the next month or two, like having issues that are small enough that we can actually expect to have them done in a week or two. What do people think? Honestly, a week doesn't leave a lot of time. That's like maybe bug fixing. If we're talking features, then probably 2 weeks is a more reasonable cycle. Like I'm going to do some work, I'm going to post it for review, there's going to be a review cycle. I can't imagine features, like meaningful features, more than just trivial stuff, getting done in more than a couple of weeks, or less than a couple of weeks, rather. What do you think?
Seems quite logical to me. Maybe.
Okay. So, I'm not even sure that we want to do more frequent releases, but I would say like start carving out tasks. Like previously, we've been kind of open-ended in terms of like how long we're going to take to do things. I think it would make sense at this point to start making sure that there's smaller tasks. Like maybe you have a big issue that has, maybe a month or two of work, but then carve it up into pieces that can reasonably be targeted at, weekly or bi-weekly milestones. And then we have a sense of, for each milestone, we're actually getting something done. We're actually getting something done. Like starting to actually get some momentum going versus kind of prototype phase, which we've been in thus far. I'm not saying we're not going to do prototyping, but I think getting into more of a regular development mindset might be helpful.
Yeah, but so while we are brainstorming, so what we can list out is that what is the priority or the set of features that you have in mind from your point of view. The feature might be big, but then it will be the stakeholders' responsibility to actually create an issue for the feature and maybe sub issues for breaking it down into tasks which are completable within a week or two's time. Right. That should also be our focus.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, like I said, I think while we sort of wait for alpha to get released, just focusing on planning and thinking about how we want to sort of revise the development process, I think that's really helpful. It may be a good idea to maybe have a meeting later this week, like once alpha is released, to sort of kick things off and set, to come back with the expectations that we've set for ourselves and share it with the group. Maybe Friday.
Yeah, Friday seems fine to me. Others?
Okay. And we can maybe use the sync that we already have scheduled for that.
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll be skipping tomorrow's sync and then we can meet on Friday. It seems logical to me. And yeah, one more thing. So post this, somebody suggested that we can have a blog post or something like that to publish. Uh, does that make sense? Like
Absolutely.
if
We definitely want to
yeah,
publicize this. I wasn't sure if
yeah.
Paul had been working on that. He talked about it a while ago, but he's pretty busy this week, so maybe we'll circle around. But I would say by the end of the week, we do want a blog post posted somewhere.
Good location might be Kubernetes blogs, but I don't know what is like it's anybody can publish there, or you need to be a member or something over there to publish. I have no idea about it.
I think we can sort that out. Like
Okay. Yeah.
I'll look into that and see. Paul would know, and I'll just make sure to connect with him. I'm supposed to talk to him
Okay.
today anyway.
I'll put Paul's name against it then. And yes. Okay. Yeah. Any other point or suggestions?
Nothing for me, I think. That's it.
Yeah, in that case, anybody else has any other point to talk about? There's nothing else, we can finish early. And then, so there is a meeting set up for tonight and tomorrow. I would be canceling them and I'll leave it for Friday. I did send in the notice only to the 5 or 6 guys who are actually actively working on this. Seems fine, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep.
Okay. And Lindsay, I'll ping you in 15 minutes if that time seems fine for you.
Okay, sure.
Okay, cool. See you guys on Friday then.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks all.
Bye bye.